In this video, we're going to be making a unique Pluck sound that has kind of this weird vocal quality in Ableton Live's Wavetable. This is the type of sound I hear with Madon and Mashmello and a few other future bass artists. It's a really cool sound. I love using it as accents. So let's check it out in Ableton Live. And let's solo the sound. And in context. I love that sound. Sweet, so we're gonna make this step-by-step in Ableton Live. If you wanna be lazy or whatever and grab this for $1, there's a link in the description, or DIY it by watching step-by-step and follow along at your own production station, wherever that might be it on a boat, a car, a house, whatever. It's crazy, the internet's crazy what people are up to. Anyways, let's check it out in Ableton. All right, first thing I'm going to do is turn off some of these effects. We do not need them to start with. I will turn them on later. And here we are. This is the sound, and I'm just going to delete it. Bam. Now I'm going to go over to my instruments and throw in an empty wavetable. Once I got in there, I'm going to start building this thing by changing the oscillators. The first oscillator I'm going to set to 4 mans because we're going to go with a kind of a vocal sound. And we're going to set it to the first one, A-E-I-O-U. And oscillator 2, we are going to go with basic shapes. Turn it on up. It's pretty much a square. Oscillator 1, I'm actually going to change this to 81% to start. Just because, I don't know, sounds good from that position. It'll make sense once we start mapping this a little bit later. Then I am going to change the filter. I'm going to cut off a little bit of that top end. I'm going to set that to 5.59 kilohertz. Resonance at 23% is great. Now, looking over at my mod sources. This is where some of the magic happens, and then once we set up in the matrix, it's going to make a lot more sense. So, the amp. We definitely want this to be plucky. So this represents how loud it starts and where it swoops down to, where it sustains, and eventually goes down once you release it. This is a pluck, so we want it to be just really quick attack. Just like that. Envelope 2, I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to drag that down. 1 millisecond on attack is great. I'm actually going to set this to 447 milliseconds. And the release is good. Yeah. Envelope 3, I'm going to do a similar thing. Except for this one's going to have a little bit longer of a decay. About 2 seconds. There we go. And the attack looks great. Now I'm going to go over to the matrix. I'm going to open this up to the full mode, full view. That little triangle right there. Just so I can map everything really easily. Great, so envelope 2. First thing I'm going to map that to is oscillator 2 gain. And I do that by just coming in here. I'm actually going to turn this gain down a little bit to start. Click it, and then I can map it. And I'm going to give it to 100%. That's just to make sure that this goes down a lot quicker than the rest of the volume. And envelope 3, I am going to map that to oscillator 1 position. If you watch my presets, you'll see that I love to do this because then it moves through the wavetable, really taking advantage of what Wavetable does. If you're not moving or changing the wavetable, then you're just dealing with like a single oscillator or double oscillator synth. This is where the magic happens. See how it has that cool kind of bouncy sound now to it? Great. Now, this is a pretty simple sound. We're going to do just one more thing. I'm going to put on the phase sync voices 4 at about 40% just to give it a little more interest. Now, some of the magic to this sound is actually going to be in these effects. So I'm going to turn these on. I'm going to just shrink the wavetable. But first one I have is the Multiband Dynamic. You'll see what I'm doing here is you can grab these guys and move them. And I want it to just get rid of a little of the mid. If you grab this, it compresses it more or actually expands it. I want to compress it just a little bit to get rid of some of that kind of mid-range, and with the low end, a lot of that too. I'm going to compress that out just because I don't really want that much low sound in this particular preset. And I also turned up the high just to give me a little extra sound. Now, moving on, reverb. This reverb is just pretty simple reverb. I think it's actually the stock one to start. Let me check. Audio effects, reverb. Yep, pretty much. There is a few changes, which is the high and the decay. So let's do that. I'm going to change my decay a little bit. Turn on the low because I don't want a lot of low happening in this reverb. I'm actually going to open up the high a little bit and turn down the dry wet. Just gives it a little bit more dimension and sound. And lastly, we've got this phaser. So I can actually look up Flute. How do you say that? Flute? Oh, and it's chorus. Yeah, chorus, not phaser. You drag that in and it's already there. You don't have to mess with the preset at all. Just boom, throw it in there. But I turned up the feedback a little bit. Whoa, cray cray. All right, turn that down a little bit. Perfect. And let's hear this in the track. I actually had a scale function to make sure it was in the right scale when I just like twiddled it on my keyboard. But you get the point. It's a really cool sound. It adds a nice little plucky additive thing to your tracks. Sweet, I am stoked to share this preset. I've been throwing it in a lot of new tracks that I've been building. It's got a really cool additive quality, especially if you just do that little scale thing, little blip blop there or here, put some delay on it, sounds really cool. So that's the preset, DIY it at home, or again, you can grab for $1. If you want a huge collection of future-based presets all in Wavetable, then check out the second link in the description. Should be down there or something. You know, the internet's weird when I'm talking through a box, but I think it's down there. And check it out. There's some really cool presets there and easily packaged for you to put in your production. Make sure you subscribe or like this video if you like what I'm doing, because I'll keep making more if you do. And more videos coming at you on Wavetable synthesis, building some cool sounds in future bass and other genres. So thanks a lot. Until next time.